Good morning and welcome to day 2 of this series of 365 Bible studies, which will show you the different kinds of literature there are in the Bible and hopefully help you to understand what it is that we are reading when we open that great book. Today is day 2, and today we're going to look at Genesis chapter 1, verses 4 to 8. And in this, the writer is trying to explain why there is something and not nothing. God was happy with what he was seeing, so he separated light from darkness and called the light day and the darkness night. Evening gave over to morning, and that was the first day. Then God gave the order for a dome to divide the water, keeping it in 2 separate places. It happened like this. The dome God made separated the water above it from the water below. He called the dome sky. Evening gave over to morning, and that was the second day. Since the time of Darwin, who lived between 1809 and 1882, there had been some kind of battle between those who believe that science and religion are incompatible and those who know that modern science was largely invented by people of faith during and after the Enlightenment. Since then, people of faith have only seldom made the mistake of denying the truth of scientific progress, and yet today's atheist materialists persist in making the most of the Darwin debates and the persecution of Galileo. They forget that Isaac Newton, the pioneer of optics, gravity, and higher mathematics, was a Christian, that genetics was pioneered by Augustinian monk Gregor Mendel, that in 1879 Darwin himself wrote that he had never been an atheist, and that many of today's clergy have science degrees. Since the discovery of the extent and expansion of the universe by Henrietta Leavitt and Edwin Hubble early in the 20th century, science has known for sure that the universe had a beginning. The faiths descended from Abraham, Jews, Christians, and Muslims, have believed the universe had a beginning since at least 6,000 years ago. Cosmologists have suspected that random ripples in space-time give rise to the first tiny particles that were to form into matter. These particles have now been observed coming spontaneously into existence as matching pairs of opposites. A positively and a negatively charged particle, for instance, or 2 particles spinning in opposite directions. If you consider how something might come out of nothing, the resulting somethings must of course still add up to what they were made of, nothing. So pairs of opposites that exist make sense. Without our history and technology, of course, the Babylonian and Jewish scholars didn't get all the fine details right, but what they wrote down made sense to them. Instinctively, they saw pairs of opposites, and we must give them the credit for their clarity of thought. Look now at today's part of this hymn to creation. It may well have been a litany sung in worship in the rebuilt temple in Jerusalem after the return from exile, with everyone joining in the response. Evening gave over to morning, and that was the next day. Opposites of different kinds abound in this hymn. Light and darkness, day and night, ocean and earth, sky and ground, male and female. These ancient scholars had a feel for something which was discovered in our times to be true. Materialists still insist that faith and science are enemies, but this is sadly turning into a rather old-fashioned argument. There are plenty of scientists who are Christians, and there are physicists who see the fine-tuning and the very understandability of the world as arguments for design, and ask why the cosmos obeys logical mathematical rules. Some even believe this universe to be a hologram or a simulation. These are thinly disguised arguments for the programmer or designer, whom we have known and worshipped for millennia as our creator, God. Thank you. See you again tomorrow for a much more ancient picture of how creation came to be.